You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. This is episode number 80 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrill, and as always, I'm joined by co-host Mr. Dakota Davis.
Today's episode is going to be featuring Jesse Riddle and Dakota Clark. Both are running for Henry County Council in District 3. We are going to be talking to them about their positions, their views, asking them a series of questions, and holding a good conversation about the issues between the two candidates.
Very excited about this. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana, and as always, we promise our episodes are going to be fun and an easy listen. If you are watching on the live feed or the replay later on YouTube or Facebook Live, you will notice that we do have the set ready to go for all three candidates on the ballot. We extended an invitation to Jesse, Dakota, and Peg, and Peg's chair is ready to go. She's not yet arrived. She politely declined Dakota's invitation, but better late than never is our attitude around here. So if she chooses to join us,
she has a chair and a microphone.
We have a place. We've got the chair, and I'm holding up the microphone. We are ready to go. Just in case.
That's right. That's exciting.
Yes.
So before we get into the questions, if you are watching on the live stream, you might have saw a nice picture on the blackboard, and that is because today's episode is brought to you by Weiland's Flowers in Newcastle, Indiana. Weiland's has been delivering top-of-the-line flowers and gifts to our area since 1951.
That's longer than any of us have been around.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe all of us added together.
I don't know about that. You're pretty old. So Weiland's actually provided flowers for mine and Jeremiah's weddings, which was...
Separately.
Yeah.
Separate weddings.
We didn't have a trained marriage, no, but they had great service. They were awesome to work with, incredible flowers and everything, and it's all local here from a hometown business. And Weiland's is also the official florist of the Boss Hog of Liberty.
So they have online ordering, same-day flower delivery, and if you have no excuse not to buy your loved one flowers. You can call them at 765-529-6303 or visit weilandsflowers.net and take advantage of their service on some amazing autumn gift sets today. Tell them the Boss Hog of Liberty sent you because they like a little feedback for knowing that participating in the candidate series actually got them something. So
yeah.
If you like the show, support the show by going down to Weiland's and buying some flowers.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into some real screwdriver questions for you guys. Going to throw you a bunch of curveballs. Oh, dang it. You guys already have a little you guys already have a little list of questions. Who gave that to them? Did you print that out and give it?
Yeah.
That's not how it's supposed
Didn't we
to go.
email this to them?
I needed it.
It's an episode guide. We gave them an idea, a clear idea of what... we were not trying to do any gotchas here. This is about getting to know you.
That's right.
It's candidates that are here together to educate the county about what they believe, and this isn't anything gotcha. This is all one of these guys, or potentially Peg, who's not quite here yet, will be voting on our county budgets, and it's a big deal.
It is. It's a very big deal. So we're going to be asking you guys all about that. Are you ready?
Perfect. I'm ready.
All right.
Awesome.
So let's start with Mr. Dakota Clark. Who are you, and what are you all about? Let's start with that. The very basics. Apparently, you have a father named Greg.
Yeah, I have a father named Greg. I graduated from Knightstown High School in 2017.
Bragging about how I went to high school.
Yeah, I know. It was great.
I didn't.
Nothing wrong with that. I graduated from Ivy Tech in 2018, May, with my degree in general studies, and now I'm currently trying to get my EMT certification so I can further my education, become a paramedic.
All right.
Awesome. So what do you like to do for fun, Dakota? I want to see if the two Dakotas in the room have any common hobbies.
During the summer, I like to fish.
Nice.
So that's something I do a lot of.
What kind of fishing?
Bass fishing,
Yeah,
cat fishing.
working the banks of the Big Blue down at Knightstown.
Yep.
You have your car pulled over down there at the Carthage line all the time.
Sometimes.
Yeah. All right.
So unprofessional, Jeremiah.
Apparently, I didn't mute my phone.
His 13 phones, he didn't forget to turn them all off.
Yeah.
It's a complicated life.
He has to have multiple phones. He does a lot of Facebooking. All right. Well, Jesse, that means it's your turn.
Was that it? You just like to fish? That's all your hobbies?
Yeah, I like to read. I like to watch what's going on in Washington from time to time. So
Now, you
do not like
do you like to read thepolitico.com? Are you on MSNBC? What's your number one way to consume news? What do you do? Or is it just the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast?
Boss Hog of Liberty.
So I'm getting a announcement here that says that you also like to do some driving.
Yeah, I recently raced at Mount Lawn.
Did you?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So hopefully next year I can race a little bit more. That's just something I like to do for fun. So
See, now we're connecting. I can get behind
You
that.
didn't connect on the fishing?
There's
A little bit.
synergy.
Yeah,
A little bit.
You and Dakota share a lot more hobbies than the two Dakotas do.
True. Yeah. I mean, I've got the bass boat, and my major league sport is IndyCar. So I could tell you more about 1990s NASCAR than anybody ever wanted to know. I've got it down, chapter and verse.
It's a true story. I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We all have
Mr. Jesse Riddle over there on your side, you're on the ballot again.
Again,
Third time's a charm.
well, this
Your-
isn't
one
the
of your
third
hobbies.
time of this ballot.
Hobbies include running for county council.
It's getting that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you have to run for an office before it becomes a hobby.
You're not like Andy Horning level of like 9 elections or something, but
No,
you're getting good at it. You know how to fill out the forms.
getting better at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the ninth time that you run for office, you have to be a Republican, according to Andy.
Yes, once every 9 times you have to run.
I just probably won't.
Andy has run for Congress as a libertarian and as a Republican. So one of these times you'll have to just sign up with Team Elephant and see what happens.
Probably won't happen.
I was asked by Mr. Tom Saunders why I wouldn't focus a lot of my energy for the Republicans, and I said because I'm not ready to sell my soul yet.
You should just return the question. Why do you not want to spend your energy with us?
Yeah,
It's probably the same answer.
probably.
Yeah, Well, we're not here to pick on parties too much. So what's the day job, Jesse? What do you do?
So by day I'm a programmer, and by night I'm a programmer. No, I'm just. It feels like that lately. So yeah, I'm a software engineer, and I did not go to college, and I know that hurts some people's feelings, but that's okay.
Doesn't hurt mine. I didn't either.
There we go.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot in common.
We're gonna have.
I
more.
went to 2 colleges, just like Dakota. So I'm also an Ivy Tech graduate, and got my bachelor's at Indiana Wesleyan. So
We're dividing the room.
double it up.
there's something wrong with not going to college.
So I'm a software engineer. Before that, I was a system administrator. I work in Indianapolis, and I probably travel there 3 to 4 times a week, except this week was kind of a little bit different. So yeah, that's what I do for a living.
What do you do for fun?
I like to listen to metal. I'm trying to, me and you give
Yeah,
me some synergies
just
here.
both of us,
See
yeah.
what I'm doing? He's getting all excited. And then outside of that, I still like to program for fun. I like to visit restaurants and breweries and drink and eat and
Wow.
converse with friends.
So you've had some tragic news in your life this week. Your favorite Cajun restaurant on the east side of Indianapolis is going out of business.
Yes.
The Papa Roo.
Yeah, a restaurant that I would frequent when I worked on the east side. I would probably frequent it at least 2 to possibly 3 times a week.
Now you guys are both Knightstown guys, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I've not been stalking him on Facebook. I don't
Where's
know where
the opposition research, Ben?
I like to believe in privacy.
Okay, Dennis.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Restaurant news in Knightstown. You guys have got a new Mexican restaurant opening up,
Yeah.
or did open up, right?
Yeah.
Have you both run in there to try to curry favor with the locals?
Yesterday,
Get your photo op with
yesterday
them?
was 2 for 3 of the days they were open. But today I did not go, so now I'm 2 for 4.
50%.
50%. So, I mean, they're making a lot of money off me so far.
Are you supporting small business, Dakota?
Yeah.
You been in there yet?
Not yet, but I do plan.
You've
on
got some catching up to do.
I haven't
Yes.
seen them there.
They have like 9 things on the menu, so you've had 2 of them so far?
It's the servers from Don Rigo's from Greenfield. 2 of those servers came out and started the restaurant. And the menu, I don't know how much influence the owner of Don Rigo has with those 2 people, but the menu is actually very, very similar. Yeah. Sorry, I can just talk louder.
No, I'm just doing, I'll adjust it from here.
You be comfortable.
People are
All right.
texting me saying, turn Jesse up, so I'll turn Jesse up.
Ooh.
Who is saying that?
My mother. My mom, very judgmental. Very judgmental. She won't put it in the
It's
chat.
like,
She'll
who
just
wants
text
to actually
me.
hear me talk?
Yes.
We know where Jeremiah gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I come by it very naturally. I will
So-
say I've got the new Craig DaCosta headset on.
You do.
These
Those are
arrived.
really nice.
They're very nice, but they are very warm. These are like earmuffs. Like I would wear these in the middle of January outside.
I used them on Monday.
We may need to trade.
Okay, that's fine.
He doesn't want your sweaty.
I'm going to trade before we get super sweaty.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do this on the
You
fly.
want to trade now?
Be professional. You ready?
Okay. All right.
Here we go.
Watch this.
Now,
earphone.
Dakota, just tell us a story
Hold on a
about
second.
your
We
life.
can't really trade.
Why can't we trade?
Because my cord goes underneath the walking track, so we'll have to do that later.
Okay. Well,
I used the Craig DaCosta headphones on Monday whenever we did our live on location podcast.
yes, sir.
And they are fantastic.
They are very good.
Eventually, I want to get all of them replaced to those, so
told you I was gonna
Jeremiah
bring
just
my
won't
own.
have a chance.
I've got some Sennheiser HD 280s that I would bring in for myself.
All right, let's get a little bit more serious. Dakota, why did you decide to run for office, and why do you think you're the best candidate? Really sell yourself to me on this one.
Okay, so I decided to run for office in December of 2017 because I didn't believe that the youth of Henry County was well represented, and that's everywhere. So I just thought that I would throw my hat into the race and see what happens.
All right.
Boy, has there been a youth movement now, huh? Mm-hmm. Now you're running against a millennial and a gray chair, and I'm on the ballot. You got a lot of young people now. You've obviously set a trend.
I wouldn't say that.
Dakota's your Generation Z, right? Or are you millennial?
He probably is Z.
I thought I was part of the millennials, like the end of
How old are you?
19.
You're 19. Yeah, you may
Yeah.
be.
I don't
See,
know.
I've always said the show is the world's oldest and youngest millennial, but if this Dakota is a millennial too, we're going to rethink everything.
It's very Somebody will let us know in the live stream comments. So why are you the best choice?
I wouldn't say that. Well, okay, so
Okay, we're here. Here. Time out. All right, here we go.
I would bring a different perspective to the council, just regarding my age. So the way I see things is different from someone who is older than me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, Jesse. What about you? Why did you decide to run again? And
Nope.
why are you the best person?
No more of this Midwestern modesty. This is going to
No.
stop now, or I'm
Yeah.
going to start throwing bombs on your behalf.
Well, that authority is why I'm running right now. He told me in his private room that he was going to kick my butt if I didn't run. So here I am. But no, this is a race that I've run in before, and I ran for the at-large position 2 years ago. And I'm just trying to bust my way in and try to help the county, stick to their budgets, do some audits, make sure that money's being spent appropriately, and get it more up to date for us millennials, quote unquote. Although I don't like that term.
Of course you don't.
You don't like groupthink, right? You're ruggedly individual.
Yeah, rugged.
I would say.
Very
Is that
rugged.
correct?
Look at me.
With the Thomas Jefferson haircut.
There's two guys kind of wearing flannel here that are obviously more rugged than I am.
Listen,
Dakota Clark has the pearl snaps.
would it
okay?
make you feel any different
I
if
used
I
to have
told you
pearl
this
snaps.
is my wife's flannel?
No.
You fill it out in a different way.
Yeah, very different way.
Not nearly as busty.
No.
That's hilarious. But so anyway, yeah, I just wanted to run again to put my hat in the ring. Also, just get better at being a candidate, getting the paperwork filled out, as we said, speaking, and just running the circuit and trying to learn people. And that's about it.
So what do you think the most important issue is that you're focusing on your campaign? If you pick one thing that you're worried about, Jesse, what's your go home issue?
My go home issue is not Henry County's go home issue. Mine is going to be the budget, and I just want to look at the budget, make sure that it's being audited, and make sure that we are spending money appropriately. I would like to be influential as a candidate and as an elected official to help try to make some changes that might ease some pain that we have in the county currently.
All right, and Dakota.
Well, I also think it's the budget. I think that if
That's good because the race is about the budget. That's what this is about. You're running not on all these other superfluous issues. It's you're the budgetary agency, right?
Yeah. So I would also focus on the budget. I think that instead of planning just to get by each year, we need to look ahead and really plan that way. So we can start helping our economic development instead of just trying to get by. And I think if we continue the way that it's going, our potential for economic development is just going to hurt throughout the years.
So what's the biggest thing you want to fix? Is it planning the budget planning process, or is there one outlier that you're mostly concerned about?
I mean, I would just want to look ahead instead of planning the budget for each year. Look ahead. It's very similar like what Clay Morgan says about the budget. I agree with a lot of what he says regarding that issue.
You're not allowed to. He's not from your party.
I know.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
You're not allowed to agree with him.
Yep.
Clay's endorsement of me and my race has, caused a fracture in the Republican Party bigger than the Grand Canyon.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
Those poor guys. Those poor guys.
I think
there's like a few Republicans in this county.
Individualism
The Grand Canyon is massive.
they were
Individualism is not accepted.
They were pretty fractured at the beginning. Let's just be honest about it.
Well, when you can let Democrats sign up to run as Republicans,
Oof.
it happens.
All right. Jesse said it.
Not my problem.
So
All
back
complaints
to
may
your
be emailed to Dakota at bosshogofliberty.com.
Yeah. So both of you said that your most important issue is going to be the fiscal side, of course, and being the county council. But going a little bit deeper into the fiscal aspects of the county, and going off of what you said is the most important, what is the one thing, if you're elected, you would want to fix first?
Making sure that our initiatives towards fixing the roads is transparent and being, I don't want to use the word fiscal for that, but making sure we're dotting our I's, crossing the T's, and making sure that everyone inside the county knows exactly what's going on with the roads every day. I think that that's probably the biggest thing that we all have in common and we all suffer from. Everything else is a little bit more hyperbole to me, but the roads are a legitimate problem that we all run into, no pun intended, every day.
Yeah. All right, Dakota, what do you think?
I agree. The transparency regarding not only just the roads, but every fund in Henry County. So the taxpayers know how their money's being spent, where it's going, and why it's going there.
So what do you do? Do you want to do like a Facebook Live after meetings to help with transparency? Do you want cameras installed? What's your
Absolutely.
What's your way you would do that?
I would first start with the audio and video being installed in the meetings. I think that's something a lot of people in the county want to see. And then I would personally want to stay after a meeting and speak with whoever may want to ask questions or make comments and concerns.
All right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, that's one thing that we've been kind of talking and with Aaron Dickin, and he's been doing on the city council side, and I really think that he's taken the torch and set a really good example for all of the different boards in the county about transparency in government. So I think that both of what you guys are saying with transparency in government, and I know that's something that's really been big in your campaign as well, and I really think that if we can get more people who genuinely believe that and kind of can follow the example that Aaron's been doing with the YouTube live streams, I think that that we will be in a much better place as far as county residents becoming angry over issues and rumors that might have not even happened.
All right, Dakota, I want you to pick a fight now. What's the one thing the current county council has gotten wrong? What have they done do you think is wrong that they can fix immediately, or that you want to work on first term?
I would say the budget and just planning for the future instead of trying to get by each year.
Okay. All right. So like the Lowit money, the public safety Lowit money, there have been Chad Malacote has made charges saying, we've basically just fed it back into the budget to solve problems instead of investing it. Is that going down that line, or just the budget in general, not even public safety?
Just the budget in general. We talk about the Memorial Park. We talk about the potential with the jail and how that's going to be funded, roads, public safety. So just making sure that we have the money to be able to effectively fund those funds and programs. Instead of, like I said, just instead of planning to get by each year, we need to look forward and invest in our future.
All right. Jesse Riddle, one thing that they've done wrong.
Not having their meetings when the workforce can get to them. That would be my number one. I think
so. The 3:30 once a month is no bueno to you.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've complained about this now for 6 years. I don't know how long we've been running and trying to run for this office, but it's been a long time. That's the easy, low hanging fruit that we can fix. I don't know why it's such a problem. I don't know if the other people are going to bed at 6 p.m. or what they're doing. By the look of it, some of them might, but hey
man, you don't get in the way of nap time, okay? I
highly recommend CPAP machines if you're having problems sleeping.
Some people get cranky.
I'm sure they do. So that's low hanging fruit. I feel like it's cheating to call that out, but it's definitely the biggest thing that we've been harping on for the last, again, I think it's 6 years, right? Am I miscounting here?
This is the third time you've run, so I mean, this would be at the end of this term. It would be 6 years. So I think it's been 4 years ago.
Okay, so 4 years ago. Sorry, yeah, can't do math.
It depends.
That's probably not good.
You're applying for a job in the government. You get to play fast and loose with numbers all the time.
Yeah. So, and then I think I would agree with the Lloyd stuff and we knew this when we went to that meeting at the Memorial Park for the Lloyd discussion and talking about the massive increase in percentages that they're doing. And we knew that money's not going to completely go to what they wanted to. They don't earmark it for stuff like that. It goes into the general fund and then they use it for whatever they want. They're just going to keep reaching into our pockets every single time they want money. And they're going to use every Indiana law they can find to grab it. So,
all right. This is going to be a very difficult one for you to answer.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to have Dakota ask it.
Yeah. So, Jesse, the next question, and it is going to be difficult for you.
Sweet.
What is one thing that you believe that the current council has gotten right in their job? What's one thing that you think you applaud them on? If any.
Getting it wrong so that I can run.
There's the guy we invited to the debate.
Yeah, that's right. There he is.
We found him.
Yay. Yeah. I mean, that's,
they're wrong at being right.
I think that, I'm serious in this situation. They've done a lot of wrong and it's a good thing for us because it's going to help us get elected. So, and that goes for me or Dakota across the table. It's going to help. It's going to help change things eventually. So,
yep. All right. Time for compliments, Dakota.
Yeah. So I figured I would have to find something for this answer. So I did a lot of searching. I think the process they took to have someone conduct a report for the county jail, I think was appropriate. And I think the way they handled that was appropriate. So I would give them that.
We would have also accepted Nate Lamar and the work he's done trying to. I'll just throw this one in. Nate has been very good about trying to get people to apply for board positions and being very public and open and asking for that. The council's handled that, in my view, very well. Compared
Jeremiah,
to
your episode is going to be on October 30th.
I know, but Nate's not going to be there, and we may forget to mention it.
He's going to have no fuel.
Yeah,
I'll have nothing.
He's going to keep talking and give away all of his
ratings.
Answers.
Will be down. They'll be like, we already know what he cares about.
We already know what. Yeah, he's old news.
They're just going to be watching for
who's
for Pat and
cross-examining you?
That's because this is all going to be me, man.
It's just going to be you, huh?
Yeah.
I hope he has glasses.
I don't
down
even
on his nose, looking down upon us.
I didn't know if you're going to bring in some relief pitcher like Kate or somebody.
I don't even think I can let him sit in that chair.
No, I need to sit way off. Don't
let him sit.
You
in that chair.
You can take Peg's chair.
I can't wait.
Okay.
Put me anywhere you want.
Let's have Peg cross-examine you.
Let's go. Peg can absolutely do it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so
Can I have a non-smart answer to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
I think
If this is your one mulligan, sir.
no, I know,
This is
I know.
it.
So
I'm on this side of the room with fishing guy.
oh no,
over
no,
here, so.
never mind. I don't want to answer with that. That was something that did wrong.
Okay.
Sorry, that wasn't meant to be a joke. That wasn't.
Are you
a
serious?
Bit.
Like
that was that was not a bit. That was literally me wanting to actually say something, but I was like, oh, that's not right.
False start, 5-yard penalty,
Sorry.
repeat
Alright.
first down.
Sorry.
all right,
all
so
listeners.
digging a little bit more into the issues. What do you? We're having all these talks about the jail. We had a independent company come in and do a study on the jail and give a full report. Basically, they gave us the answer that everybody in the county knew that they were going to give us, and that is that our jail is in need of desperate expansion or a new jail needs to be built. So going along with it, do you think that the jail needs to be built, Jesse?
I'm not going to say that I know it needs to be built. From everything I've heard from people who have been there, we probably need to address the situation. I don't know what that means. I understand, like, sure, the people who got paid to tell us to build a jail told us to build a jail, like, obviously, like, duh. So I think that it would be really interesting to see, like, the proposal for redoing the jail, but or not necessarily redoing it, but making some needed repairs. Again, like being a little bit more pragmatic in how we approach it. I would also like to think about the funding aspect, and I think that's the biggest problem. If they're going to build a new jail, I don't necessarily think that they need to start looking at us and reaching in our pockets. I think they need to get clever about how they're generating revenue. We probably spend too much time and too much resources jailing people, and we really need to reconsider that. We don't have a lot of programs in place. At least we didn't, 2 or 4 years ago when I was running, to what's the word I'm looking for? To help reduce our recidivism. And I would promote something like some sort of program that would do that. I would like to get rid of all of the small towns bringing people to our jail because they're smoking marijuana. I would prefer that not be a thing. It costs the county way too much. I don't care how you feel about it. It literally is costing you more money to put these people in jail and costing us more when we go to build a jail because we have to account for that overhead or for those that head count when it goes into factoring how large they're going to build the next jail. So I think they really need to work on what is the actual head count going to be and then make a better decision. And I don't know if the report did anything to look at that and suggest alternative means.
You're saying, okay, no, we need to find. You're saying that something needs to be done about the jail. Point one. Point two, if we are going to build a new jail, then we need to try to fix our budget first and do it without tax increases. Point three would be more programs in place to keep people out of jail for nonviolent offenders.
Right, and I'm saying the budget for the new jail, if they decide to go that route, needs to be reevaluated based off of if they implement those programs. Because in theory, right, the amount of people going into jail should decrease. Every day I see on, on the Knightstown page or whatever, Crime Watch, our cops love to brag about all the people they've arrested for smoking weed and paraphernalia. So those people go to the jail and they sit there. I don't know for how long, probably until they, either reach bail or they get to their court date. And then off the court date, I don't know if depending on their offense, if it's their third offense, if it's still their third offense for smoking weed, I really don't think you should put them in jail. It's just a thing. So, I mean, it's very aggravating to me. And so I don't think that the work that the consulting company did really matters because we're not fixing and addressing the actual situation.
Let's work Dakota into the conversation here and your views on the jail. Do you have the same thoughts as Jesse, or do you find a difference here?
I agree. I think, to my understanding, the county already has those programs put into place to get inmates out sooner. So, I mean, we need to look at those programs and see what can be improved with those. I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, I think that it needs to be built or fixed, but my approach would be to speak with who the people that are already working in there, see what they have to say, kind of get a better understanding of how much it's actually going to cost our county. Because if we looked at, I believe it was Delaware, Muncie.
Delaware County took a middle school and is converting it over, and I think it's about a $30 or $35 million project. I think off the top of my head, but I could be incorrect.
But the original total changed after they did some more investigations, or whatever the case may be. So, it's going to be a long process, and so I mean, I can't definitely say like, yes, I believe it needs to be fixed. No, I don't. I want to look at the programs first and see if they're effective and how we can improve those, and then if the jail does need to be. So I guess the problem I'm having is whether or not it needs to be fixed or replaced, because I've heard there's been improvements over the years, and those improvements become ineffective.
So basically, what the study found, what the independent agency found, was that the layout of the jail, this pod system that we have, is totally outdated. It was
Linear.
probably
There's a linear system.
Yeah,
not a pod
linear,
system.
not a pod system. Sorry, but the linear system was outdated even whenever it was built. So they're saying even the layout is wrong, and you can't expand it in a direction.
Darren Jacobs was responsible for selecting the linear system, not the pod system. But I could be wrong.
But they were saying that the linear system is basically bad. We don't have room there to expand it, and if you wanted to change it into the pod system, you wouldn't have room to do so.
So I'm confused. Do we have linear or pod? Because we
have a linear system, and the pod system.
They want to go to the pod.
Yeah, pod system is
Yeah.
is the current technology.
I don't know if you've ever watched 60 Days In.
Nope.
Somebody knocking?
It's probably just my chair. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Jeremiah's being reckless over here.
Bull in a china shop, man. This is what you get. It's a lifetime sentence with me. All right, so if we get to the point where we decide we have to get a jail,
Right.
do you want to pay for it out of the general budget? Do you want to? There's a tool that was created. I'm using air quotes. A tool that was created by the legislature is to let another income tax be passed on for jails or for public safety. We could restructure some debts. Is there a preferred method in your view, Dakota?
The only thing I do know for sure is that I wouldn't want to raise taxes, and I wouldn't want to create a new tax. I want to look at what options we truly have, and lay them out, and then have that discussion, and then decide what would be effective and what wouldn't hurt our taxpayers.
All right. Jesse.
I'm just wondering, have you given him a card for our party?
I talked to him at the Moreland Fair. I explained what we were all about, man.
All right.
He was nodding his head there, but he'd already signed up to run.
That's all right. So I've already talked about the jail. So
All right.
Yeah, he already talked about how he wanted.
I mean, financing.
So the financing, I guess I didn't really
you didn't commit to needing a jail, so you don't want to pay for a jail. Prove that we need it before I pay for it. That's what you're saying.
So yes, after we do all of the other things to actually try to remedy what the actual problem is, instead of like, oh my gosh, we have our room's too big. It's like, well, why are the people in the room? Like, let's look at that first. I think differently than most people, so it's okay. If there needs to be a new jail or some sort of change, I think readjusting funds and either cutting fat from the departments that can be or services is what we would do, or at least I would promote. I would never, ever support an income tax raise. So,
all right. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's right. So let's shift directions a little bit. Let's talk about Memorial Park. You talked a little bit about it in your kind of opening and what was important to you. And so with the direction of Memorial Park, we have one of the largest county owned and funded parks in the state of Indiana. So are you happy with the direction that it's going, or do you think it needs fixed? We'll start with Dakota on this one.
I think that the direction it's going in is okay. I've recently been looking at the Expo Center. I think that would be a great addition to the park. I think that will generate revenue, and it's being used for 4-H, which is an awesome organization. So, I think it's the direction it's going in is okay.
Jesse.
So I'm a little disconnected on what's going on with the park, even though my friend here was very involved. So the Doughboy thing, the golf, what's it going, sorry, we have notes.
Yeah,
And
so basically this is
what's
this
going
is
on
a
with the
jumping
golf
off
course?
point. No, the golf course is
It's private right now, right?
Correct. Yeah, the golf course is sold, so it's no longer a part of the park. It
Right.
is, it's.
I didn't know
available.
if it somehow came back to us.
No.
Okay,
It's,
cool.
it's still a public asset. But
No.
inside of there was a discussion at the county commissioners workshop this week about the golf course and about the Saddle Club and about the expo center that's being constructed and money's being raised. And you've seen a direction with the park where it's kind of become more privatized.
Mm-hmm.
There's 25 or 30 acres. That's a 501c3 privately run organization with the Saddle Club, and now you've got another 60 acres in the park. That the same thing is happening with the Expo Center, where that's been spun off, and then you still have the open space for the golf course, but that's now privately owned. And there's talk of maybe having alcohol be able to be sold inside of the Expo Center, and they're attempting to get that worked into the lease for the Saddle Club,
Right.
with proper licensure and paying a vig to the county or whatever, however that's going to work. Is this the kind of direction you want to see with the parks? Do you say no? We need what's your you've got a 325 acre asset in the county. Are you supportive of this? Do you think no? We should just county control it. This is it's a jumping off point for a conversation about it because it's been a hot button issue for the last 5 or 6 years.
So now that I know what that's about and what's going on with them, I do like apparently what's going on with it, because that's exactly what I was going to say. I would spin them off of I don't want the council to be bothered with what's going on at the park. Get organizations involved for the people who care about the park and can use those things. I personally am never, it's not that I'm not going to use the park, but I just won't use it nearly as often, especially as people at the Saddle Club, right? So, and they're going to take care of what they are responsible for. I was going to say before you kind of got into it, they need to, before they would ever ask the council for money, they need to get creative with what you're doing. You have a lot of regulation preventing you from doing stuff that you could easily let go. That includes allowing for 24-hour alcohol permits on the premises, things where people would have events there, things that are going to generate income for you, so that you can support your organization and keeping the parts of the park that need to be taken care of up to date. And stuff that isn't just where parents want to take their children. It's the Expo Center, again, as a building, if it needs repairs, you need to host events that can actually generate income. Else you're just going to put money into a building that is going to fall apart because no one's making repairs again.
Right.
So,
and that's the shift that you've seen take place as the commissioners have, the commissioners still own the ground, but now you've got an independent organization that's responsible for booking and maintaining those facilities, so that you don't have to do it from the county level.
Yeah. And so my answers are going to be like this for everything. This is just the way I think. The services need to be distributed and they need to be self-sustaining. If they can't self-sustain, we need to evaluate if we need them, because that means somebody doesn't think it's important. And that would include the people inside the organization. So,
All right, yeah.
Any other thoughts on the park and the park system?
What about
Should we have county parks? Are you supportive of having county parks, Dakota, or is it we should just give it to the city?
I don't have a problem with it being county owned or not being county owned. So I agree with everything Jesse said. Honestly, I think that it doesn't necessarily need to be a concern for the county council, more as it being a concern for organizations that would be in there running those operations and making sure that they're effective and not just being forgotten.
So
Yeah, well, so one other thing that's going in the park, I assume that both of you guys are familiar with how the Doughboy controversy was playing out. And in the primary show, one of the questions that we were asking the county council candidates was there was at one point talk of maybe asking the county for some money to get a second Doughboy statue to place the original one back in the original location. Do you think that, so going off of that, whenever big projects come up in county parks like Memorial Park, do you think that the county council has a place there to allocate special funds to make improvements?
The only thing the council should do is get out of the way of the people who want to take care of it. Give guidance. I would not allocate funds, and it probably sucks for a lot of people, but based off of as upset of people were, there's enough people that can support projects. They just need to be willing to open their wallets.
As a guy that served on the Memorial Park Board, the vast majority of the park's budget is labor and overhead, insurance and labor costs. So I hopefully you guys will look at that. You see the amount of dollars that we actually have available in that park for the areas that the park is responsible for maintaining for maintenance, and it's a laughable figure. You consider the number of acres you have, and it's a maintenance budget that's probably close to what you would spend on your own private residence. So, and you've got countless buildings that the county is supposed to be taking care of.
For real quick, let's say the grounds, right? The Saddle Club sits on. Who mows that?
The Saddle Club grounds and maintenance are the responsibility of the Saddle Club. So they say that the mowing over there, I think Rebecca Baker said Monday night when we had our live podcast out there that it's about $8,000 a year in mowing costs.
Sure. I mean, it's a lot of grass. So,
yeah, so
for their
real
30
quick,
acres.
Dakota, what do you, with the original question surrounding special funds, do you think that is something that the council should be involved in?
I would be more supportive of doing like a matching type of situation, and not just handing all of those funds over for those kind of projects, because I also think that there are plenty of people who showed their opposition of that.
So make sure there's enough support in the community to get behind it before the council just starts to hand out money.
Right.
Okay. All
right. Let's pivot again.
Yeah.
Or we should probably thank our sponsor. We are sponsored today.
We are sponsored. Once again.
Wyland's Flowers, Newcastle, Indiana, has graciously agreed to sponsor the candidate series today, or at least this episode of the candidate series. We've got a number of rotating sponsors. We will get into, but we want to thank Wyland's and encourage everybody to go support them and let them know that you're buying flowers there because they helped out the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast.
All right, Dakota, tell me about the county roads. What do you think? Are they the worst county roads in the state, and we just do a horrible job with it? Does our county department do a pretty decent job with the funds that they're given? Tell me what your thoughts on our roads in Henry County are.
I think they're terrible in some places. The road I live on actually was in pretty bad shape, and
then you filed your candidacy, and they came by and paved it immediately. Is that the way this went down?
Well, okay, so
coincidentally,
I know the town council had been asking for that road in particular to be paved, and so I actually served as Greensboro's clerk treasurer at the beginning of the year because their clerk treasurer had resigned, and they appointed me for temporarily until they found someone else. And we were actually able to get that road paved, but now we have Main Street in Greensboro that is not paved, and they've been fighting for that road to be paved for many years. So I would like to see every road in Henry County fixed, but obviously funds are an issue, and so it's a difficult...
Now, you've just dropped a bombshell on us. You served as a public elected official or a public official for the town of Greensboro.
Temporarily, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we didn't know that. What the heck, man?
Yeah, put that on the bio.
That should be on your LinkedIn account, dude.
All right. So the other side of this is, are you responsible for the stop sign that popped up on the south side of Greensboro out of nowhere?
No.
Because who in the world put that speed trap in?
That's been there for years.
Yeah. So I actually remember them talking about putting that in, and people were pretty angry about that.
Rightfully so.
I read on the internet people were just stealing political yard signs out of signs, and that's wrong. But if somebody takes a stop sign out that doesn't belong, that seems like it's a justifiable offense.
I should have fought for that to be removed during my time as clerk treasurer. I didn't even think
you
about that.
You would have been the hero of Greensboro.
You had the power, man.
He obviously never comes from Knightstown to Greensboro.
So you were talking about how there's limited funds for the county department for roads and things. So obviously, with limited amount of funds, you have to pick and choose which roads are going to be done. How do you envision prioritizing which roads are fixed, which potholes are filled? How do you think? What do you think is the best system to go about doing that?
I personally would probably prioritize based on traffic. So how frequently are those roads being used? Where's the most traffic at? And then start with those roads first.
As I understand the system now is you go to Citizens of Henry County, you go to the pothole page, and then you tag Kim Kronk, and you mention where the pothole is, and then Kim says, I will call the highway department, and then depending upon the tone of Kim's voice, that determines whether or not your pothole gets fixed.
Determines if Joe gets out there and does it.
Yeah, I think that's the system now.
I think that's the current system, yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Jesse? What are your thoughts about the county roads?
I'm just going to proxy everything through Kim. I think I want to. I don't want to. I've said this again for the last 4 years. Sorry. There is very little transparency as much as the chairman or the chairmans. What the heck? What is their name? Commissioners want to brag about.
I'm sorry. The shamers.
The what?
The shamaners. They were all shamed, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
The shamers.
What we're talking about.
The shamers are the people doing the shaming.
The shamees. The shamees, yes.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever they're talking about. You guys are more in tune to that than I am. So I just sit at my house and do other things. So
you just code night and day. You come out of your basement to run for office every 2 years, and then you'll go back in your cocoon and code some more and come back.
Yeah, like Gollum.
Vote for me.
The big thing I think is we don't have any transparency. So I think there should be somewhere on our wonderfully designed website of the county that is also a problem that you could go there and see the schedule of roads getting fixed. This still, for some reason, does not exist. And if it does exist, they don't ever I know it doesn't exist online. I'm saying
there is a, if you talk to Joe Wiley, the superintendent of the highway department.
We're talking about this matrix thing, right?
There's a PACER system, and they maintain it, they submit it to the state, and it's a review process, but I don't think it's online or available or publicly
But I'm saying the
consumed.
PACER system isn't as far as I understand it, it's not a roadmap, legitimately a roadmap of, here's our roads, and I'm using my hands because some people can see me. And this thing's getting paved October 15th. I can't go see that. That doesn't exist. Why doesn't that exist? Do they not know what they're going to do for the week? Because that seems unrealistic. So why can't Joe and his team go do that? It should be they don't have to put it online, but they could tell you oh, these are the things we're doing this week. And then someone administratively can say cool, and then go update this roadmap so everyone knows. It would also be cool to know how much it actually costs to do it, just so that we people could see this patch of road costs us $30,000 or whatever the heck it is. That's probably a lot of data for people, but it's data that's going to help people make better decisions about what they support. They may know, you know what, I know it costs $45,000 to pave Greenfield or Greensboro. Sorry, it doesn't. Which hopefully it doesn't.
Oh, that would be dirt cheap, man. It's about $80,000 a mile, I believe. So
Greensboro's
pavement,
not a mile long. You're talking about. So I wanted to get on this. The Greensboro. We're talking about the road, Dakota, that goes directly through Greensboro, up through the bend.
Yes.
Yeah, because that bend's really, my aunt and uncle grew or lived on that bend, and now just my aunt lives there. So that road's awful.
It's we're just proving heritage, but I've been in the district
so what,
many more generations than you have.
Talking about Dakota's plan for prioritizing the roads, which would be based on high traffic areas and finding out which roads are traveled the most. Do you agree with that level of how it's prioritized?
I don't think we can, because we have to go in order for us to collect funds from the state or whatever, we have to go through that PACER system. That us doing that paperwork is so that they relinquish money back to us. If I remember correctly.
You have there are certain hoops that they have to go through to apply for matching grants.
Yeah, the state has
community crossings.
The state has their check boxes that we have to do in order to get money back. All I'm saying is I don't care necessarily about what roads are getting done. I do care about that, but more or less, and the people, when is it going to get done? So that way they can hold you to that. And if you don't meet your deadlines, you need to be answering to why. And it's no different than anybody else's job, right? When you guys lay wire or whatever the heck you do, I don't know what you do, but they're going let's say you're a lineman. Let's say if you're a lineman, and you had to set up new poles, they're going to be how many poles did you get put in today? And it's just, that's how business works.
You didn't get your job done, so you need to answer as to why you didn't get your job done.
Right. And it's not I'm going to punish you. You just need to know, and we need to let the people know. That's going to instill trust in the people who are voting for you. You can't just say like, well, we didn't get it done, and no one knows why. And it just goes
Because
into a
that's
black
where the
hole.
rumors come from.
Yeah, but it's a black hole, right? And you would think that people in these positions would realize that maybe if we told people stuff, they wouldn't hate us, but they don't seem to care about that.
So you've been, like we said, you've ran previously, and whenever you have ran previously, wind farms have been a big deal, right?
No, the second for the at-large position was the first time, really, that
That became
turbines became an
big
issue.
deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't an issue in the 2014 election, but
Not at
2016
all.
very much.
CAFOs and stuff were a bigger problem back then.
So I know that your position last time you ran was a no vote on abatements. Do you still hold that position?
Yeah.
Do you have anything stronger or not as strong to say about it?
I think the people who are using the force of government right now to persuade all of these little towns, and I just found out about this today because I talked to Jeremiah, that Kinnard and Sulphur Springs have passed some sort of ruling, which I don't know how this has any sort of ground, that you cannot build a windmill within 4 miles of the count or within that town. And that is mind blowing to me. So that to me is super ridiculous. I don't know how a town has that kind of jurisdiction or authority, because your
It's based
town
on
limits
zoning in the
right.
town,
It's an agriculture. Well, no. So what I'm saying is like Kinnard, right, is not a very big town. 4 miles, that probably goes into Shirley, if not damn near. So how do you have that kind
It's the home rule statute, basically.
Yeah,
is
right, which you said.
The justification.
But it's so ridiculous to me that a town can dictate what a farmer does 4 miles away or 3 miles away. Like, that's insane to me.
And I think in Henry County, I'd have to look, but I think you may know this, Dakota, I think there's 17 or 18 incorporated communities.
Yeah, well, that's their plan, right?
Yeah,
like
we've
you
got
set up all these little
we've got a massive number
radiuses.
of incorporated communities, and then if you go 4 miles out from the vast majority of them, that would be the poison pill.
Yeah.
I think this is your show, not mine today.
You got to keep it for yours.
Yeah. No, I don't want to steal all the sound bites from Dakota over here.
What are your feelings on wind energy in Henry County?
At this time, I don't support it being utilized in Henry County. Therefore, if there was a motion to support a tax abatement, I would vote no.
All right. Well, there's another. That was you were one of the people that I wasn't sure about on abatements. So there's another no vote for abatements. It is. Do you have any thoughts about the towns coming up with that? I mean, I know it's not something we had talking about tonight, but just
if the 4 mile radius is what the ruling is, I could see. So Jesse used Kinnard, and then the 4 mile radius would almost be in a Shirley. So then I would wonder,
It's almost Greensboro.
yeah. So Shirley and then Greensboro would have to come up with that ruling to protect themselves, and then anyone in between those two towns or three towns is affected by that ruling. So
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see how that plays out.
The interesting part of that to me is it's a lot like my situation living in Henry Township, but being serviced by the City of Newcastle Utilities. I don't have a voice in the decisions that are made for Newcastle City water rates, right? I don't have a city councilman. I don't get to vote for city council. So in this case, the home rule of the people of Greensboro would potentially override the somebody that lives in Greensboro Township. That now you're making decisions over their property rights,
Right?
Whether or not that's something, it's not something you can control over the county council, but it's a very interesting conversation.
But I was going to say, there's a slight different. It's not as black and white, right? Because you actually use their services.
Right.
So, I mean, which is, you still should have a seat at the table.
It's like living in Washington, D.C. It's taxation without representation, right?
Right. So, but like the farmer, right, is not, even 3 miles away, you're not going to be affected by any sort of turbine. I mean, the people probably, if like really, really close to it, sure, you might experience some of the things that people have talked about as far as, I can't even remember, like the flashing thing. But,
So have either of you
Shadow
guys
flicker.
had conversations with the wind companies or been, have you been offered your bribe yet, or does that come after you get elected? I don't know how.
it must be after. They sent me some stuff. They sent me stuff 2 years ago. Calpine did.
Informational?
But, yeah, they wanted me to go to a dinner or something
Yeah.
over here at
Yeah, I got that
Primo.
too. I got that as well. Yeah.
So and maybe that's because we're in part of the party and they wanted to schmooze us up and get us to vote for stuff. But like, look, bro, we got to get elected first. You guys don't know how this stuff works.
The guys that are a no vote on any tax abatement, they want to ask about tax abatements for them.
Like, I don't own a farm, so I am of no use to you.
Yeah. Well, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Dakota, have you had any interaction with the wind companies yet?
No.
To this point?
My invitation for that dinner didn't come into the mail, so.
They're probably selectively choosing who they invite these days.
Yeah.
All right. We expected there to be a little bit more disagreements and some hotter conversation tonight.
The guy card.
Yeah,
There wasn't. Dakota's not as hard. Dakota's not the Ocasio-Cortez, the person that I thought that he might be.
Okay, so
coming
listen.
in as a Democrat.
The graphic you made was amazing, and I laughed and laughed and laughed because it looked like it was going to be UFC 97 with Dakota and Jesse.
I wanted a serious picture. That was like the only.
He got my like most emo photo where I'm just like looking out the window, just like.
Well, so the only other picture of you on your campaign page is you like 3 years ago, and it
just doesn't
you
look
have
like
like
me.
short hair. Doesn't look like you at all.
You don't look like Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, I was like, I can't use this picture.
Yeah, no,
and then
appreciate it.
I was like, so I'm gonna have to use this one. He looks serious. I need to find a picture of Dakota that looks serious. So
And that was probably the worst one you could find. So, thank you.
You have all these ones where you're smiling really big, like you're really happy, and I didn't want you to be smiling and happy, and then Jesse just looking at you out of the corner of his eye.
So this is a lesson for anybody that's running for office. And I was taught this my very first year I ran for office as a libertarian. I was told if you don't provide the media with a picture that you want them to use and make it easy, they're going to find whatever they want to find, and it is not going to be flattering. So it's up to you to send a headshot. And I know the Courier-Times has probably sent both of you guys a letter saying, hey, give me your information. They want it back by the 10th, and you're supposed to provide a bio and a headshot. Make sure you send a headshot, or else they're going to use Dakota's clip art. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
I'm just going to take another really emo photo and send it. I'm pretty sure my headshot is not what's going to get me elected.
All right, so where I was going with this conversation was I have on here, what is something that you admire about your opponents? Now, Peg's not here.
Now look deeply in each other's eyes and tell me what you like about them.
I've already thought about this like since I saw the question when I sat down today.
Peg's not here, but we're going to include her in this.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to start with Dakota. What's something you like about Peg and Jesse?
So Peg, I like how she found an issue that she opposed and decided to follow her candidacy to make sure that the county wouldn't be hurt by those decisions. And then Jesse, I admire how he's ran his campaign and has advocated for the Libertarian Party. I think that's awesome.
All right, Jesse.
For Dakota, it's youth. I'm obviously we're
me
older.
or him.
Oh, him.
Yeah, you're old now. I feel like when he says that, he needs to walk over and rub his head and say, "Congratulations, little guy." Like the youth. That's the kind of thing Tom Saunders used to say to me.
Well, no,
Look
I
at
know.
him down
That's
there.
why it's like a political. I don't know, like tradition. I don't know. Everybody was like when I was running, I wasn't 19. I was 23 or 4. And it was just like, everybody's like, I'm so glad you're, it's like the most passive aggressive thing you'd say. It's really good that you're running. You did really well. I was like, so you're saying I performed horribly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But you're glad I was there, yeah.
Yeah, but you're glad I'm there. They're like, we need more youth. I was like, well, I know you need more youth. That's why I'm here. As far as Peg, I'm glad that she stood to her guns and did not show up tonight. Really, that's a cool thing. She didn't get pressured into Jeremiah's hooting and hollering and stomping.
Yeah, hey,
She just didn't show up.
Yeah, I've been scheduling the candidates for the county council races, and I called her, and she's like, well, I did it once before, and if anyone wants to hear my positions, they haven't changed, they can go back and watch that episode. Nice. And I said, well, this time there's going to be your 2 opponents on there, and she was like, that's all right. I did it once, and that's good. And I was like, okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then Jeremiah started freaking out.
I did Abdul Hakim Shahbaz's show this week, and one of the things I talked about was there seems to be an issue with candidates that are applying for the jobs that are not showing up at forums and debates and doing media. From Connie Lawson running for Secretary of State, who's refusing to participate in the Indiana Debate Commission debates between Jim Harper and Mark Rutherford, to Greg Pence, who's dodged 3 different invitations to do this show. He's not done any sort of debates whatsoever.
He dodged a debate that was sponsored by the
League of Women Voters.
Voters.
Offered to sponsor a debate. He's turned them down. We've seen it with an incumbent county commissioner in Delaware County, and then we see it tonight. And at this point, I'm just calling it straight up. If you want the job, you need to show up and apply. So if you don't, then we're going to have a chair sitting for you, and you're going to get the Clint Eastwood treatment.
I think, if I can, may I?
Yeah,
It's your guys' podcast.
Of course.
I think you're going to see a transition, and I've thought about this myself. Just so I can pacify Jeremiah, I will show up to the debates and forums, but I think that there is going to be a transition in the way that people campaign. I think that it's going to behoove all of us to think more about doing like live webinars and staying more engaged, like through video, and doing just like real time talks. Like, hey, I'm going on at 8 p.m. Come and talk to me. Essentially, every week you could do a town hall, and people want to show up. They can show up. You could even do one where we're all like, I'm not saying we have to, but I'm saying like where we could all like go into our own webinars online and like just have like converse and like talk about things. And, you know, there could be a moderator as well. So
there's a number of different platforms and ways to reach voters, right? I mean, you can show up at the old school town hall debates, in the forums that are in place. You can answer the newspaper surveys. But when you have a platform like this where there are potentially thousands of people that are here to listen to your message, I think you owe it, and I'm glad you guys made it tonight, but you owe it to the voter to reach them where they're at. And they're going to be on Facebook, they're going to be on Twitter, they're going to be on, in the county courthouse for the thing on the week of I guess that you have an event on the 23rd and the 25th of October. But I think you need to meet the voters in all of those places.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what I'm getting at. It's not only is it the candidates, like the forums. You've never been, right? Yet. You're going to be disappointed. And I say that not because it's like there's not going to be very many people there. The voter apathy is so bad, and people my age don't want to go to a damn forum. It's boring. It's slow. It's not engaging. And last time I went, like people were going to like literally like almost want to fight each other over some really stupid things. And elected officials kept digging themselves into holes. Like there's a better way to get the message out than a forum. And the newspaper things are still fine because people still read the newspaper. But people rarely show up to the forums. Most of the time, it's the people supporting the person that's running and their family and elected officials or appointed. So I see that dying off, I guess is what I was getting at. So a long-winded way of saying that.
All right, and so we're at the closing of the show. We're past the...
You skipped one.
I know I did because we're at an hour and 10 minutes.
No, I think it's important.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
What council person do you admire the most? Me and Jeremiah had this talk before we started that once we got to an hour, we would just stop where we were and go to the closing. But now that we're actually on the show, he decided to not do that.
It's close enough. We're almost there. It's not like we
do
made
you
it
want me
halfway
from
through.
like a county council action perspective?
No, a county council person, or if you
Any
don't,
elected
if there's
official.
nobody there, an elected official, somebody.
No. I was saying like, I like what Clay's been doing.
All right.
I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Dakota, what about you?
I'd say Clay and Robin.
All right.
All right. So now we have gotten to final thoughts, and we're going to start with Dakota. So how do people get engaged into your campaign? How do they follow you? I'm also going to ask you about your future aspirations in politics and the campaigns that you've worked on and things you've done, and how people can donate to you, which is one of the most important things for campaigns.
Yeah. I'm actually on Facebook at Dakota Clark Politics. You could also search Dakota Clark for Henry County Council, and that should take you to my page. I have an ActBlue account that you can find on my Facebook. Political aspirations, I have a hard time thinking about that because part of me wants to run for office in the future, and then part of me doesn't want to get involved in that role and do more advocacy. So I really can't answer that. And then I've worked with Janine Lee Lake, who's an amazing person. I think she's ran an amazing campaign, and
She's scheduled to be on the show next Thursday.
yeah, I'll be watching. I'm excited. I hope she can pull that win off. So.
All right. Yeah. What about you, Jesse?
So you can go to facebook.com/Jesse the Libertarian. There will be a donate button. Make sure that you, I don't know what you do with business pages or whatever, but like follow me.
Yeah, you like the page.
I like the page.
Yeah, I'm turning old. I don't know the terms anymore. They just like start slipping through your brain. Like I said, there's a donate button there. If you for some reason cannot remember that, you can go to voteriddle.com. That is VOTERIDDLE.com.
Vote the Riddler.
Just vote Riddle. I literally just spelled it for you, Dakota.
Oh, sorry.
Don't get in the way of a joke. We love
come
our
on.
we love our
Come on,
jokes.
Jesse.
I was adding to the bit.
Yeah, honestly, Jesse's laughing about Facebook and the trouble it gives us. And I had a fit yesterday. I had my thing with Abdul and WIBC. It'll air Saturday, and I tried to share it from the Boss Hog page, and all of a sudden it just showed up as a photo. It didn't show up on the page and the timeline, and they changed their format on the regular. We live on their platform, and they get to call the rules, but they don't really ask us when they change something. It just magically changes. All of a sudden, a button moves on your phone, and then you still start to feel like a boomer. Yeah,
The boomer effect.
I think that I'm still young enough to where I can adapt fairly quickly to it.
wait about 10 years.
You'll start forgetting things.
This dang
Your
technology.
back will just hurt every day.
You lay down and go, I need to take ibuprofen, but it hurts to get up.
I'll just drink my sorrows until I fall asleep.
All right. I guess that my final thoughts are thank you guys both for coming on. Really appreciate it. I think that you guys, to pat ourselves on the back as well, I think that you guys and us have done a good thing in the community and in the county to help people know their voters more. We have a lot of people in the county that have been a part of their tribe for the past 30 years, and they don't want to look past that tribe mentality. And I think that hearing you guys talk can somewhat open the doors to you guys individually being transparent in your positions, and can maybe make some people look into your campaigns more closely. Also, one of my other final thought is, of course, thank you to all of the Patreon donors and everybody out there who keeps the lights on in the studio every month. And thank you to our sponsors as well for the candidate series. And, of course, if you do want to have a piece of equipment named after you, just like the Craig DaCosta headphones that we have, you can go to Amazon.com and look for Boss Hog of Liberty. And we have a profile set up there, and we have a wish list and all kinds of good stuff. And we are in need of some sound tiles. As you guys can see, since you're in here, there's a wall that's not completed and a couple walls over there that need it as well. So we're getting there, but
It's like
we
Dakota,
need some help.
It's like Dakota's on playing Minecraft, and he's not on creative mode. He's having to mine for resources over here to make sound tiles.
That's exactly right.
Oh, well, the thank yous, I guess I'm going to thank each of the candidates. I've continued to make this my theme every year I run, and when I haven't been a candidate, when I've been in a campaign management role, thanking candidates for actually being on the ballot, because everybody needs to interview for their job. There's way too many races that are uncontested. At the township level, you have races where there is nobody running whatsoever, and the county commissioners are going to automatically have the people that are that are serving now. They have to keep serving because nobody else applied for the job, or they'll have to quit, and the commissioners are just going to appoint somebody. So thank you for running and actually giving people a reason to vote, and turn out at the polls. The tribalism, I really want it to stop this year, and I'm glad you guys are participating and giving people ideas to think about. I don't know how this one's going to turn out. I don't know how my race is going to turn out, but win, lose, or draw, it's really important for the process. And thank you guys for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. I am excited about next week having Janine Lee Lake. I hope she can connect David Letterman with us so that maybe he will do our show someday.
Yeah, that's right.
That would be a big deal because I'm the race fan, and he's the owner of Ray Hall Letterman Racing, and if I can score some sweet tickets out of it, that's all I really care about. Jesse has the look on his face of, I have absolutely no idea what in the world Jeremiah is talking about.
Jesse and I both just shared a look.
Just the what? This is what he's doing. If you do, once again, if you do enjoy the candidate series, help out Wyland's Flowers. They're helping make this happen. And then this is the month to join Patreon as well. Kick in here and help us pay the light bill to show a little encouragement to the show to make this stuff happen. We will catch you guys next week with Janine Lee Lake, and we're going to roll on with all of these series. You've got 2 more county council race events. You have the county, I guess the state senate. All 3 state senate candidates from the Northern District are going to be on, plus a couple of congressional, and I think we're going to have some surprises along the way as well. So we will see y'all next week.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com, and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.